The sky above Earth turned violet. Nobody saw it coming, not even the satellites. 1 second, the sky was clear and sunny. The next, it rippled like water. Then came the sound. A deep, low hum that made every bird stop flying and every machine lose signal. Somewhere deep in Alaska, in a small outpost far from cities, a man named Jake was cooking instant noodles. He was a simple man ex-soldier, now working with Earth's defense communication team. But when the humming started, all the screens in his control room blinked red. Unregistered signal. Multiple entry points. Unknown language, the system warned. Jake jumped to his feet. "This better not be another prank from Mars base again," he muttered. But at WSN single quotes T. far above Earth's orbit, something was descending. Not a ship. Many ships. Smooth, glowing crafts with blue rings, each one moving as if pulled by invisible strings. They didn't look like weapons. Not yet. The United Council of Earth declared an emergency. Cities were told to prepare shelters. Military units across continents were activated. But no one fired a shot. Not yet. And then, just past midnight, the first message was broadcast on every screen. Every speaker, every phone. A female voice. Calm, strange accent. "We come not for war. We come for knowledge. Your planet holds information our kind has never studied. The most unusual thing is your reproduction system." Jake blinked. "What the hell?" The message continued. "We request access to your learning centers, libraries, books. We must understand the human way, especially ... Your books on how new humans are made." Across the planet, people were confused. Some laughed, some panicked, and others thought it was a joke. But at WSN single quotes T. 3 days later, an alien shuttle landed officially and peacefully in Geneva. Out walked 3 beings, tall, pale, eyes glowing faint green. 2 of them were female, nearly identical twins. One held a translator, the other held a human biology textbook. The third, older, was silent but watched everything closely. Reporters shouted. Cameras flashed. But the taller twin stepped forward and spoke through the translator. "We are the translator. Tari. My sister and I have never read about a species that uses such strange rituals for life creation. It is interesting." The world held its breath. Some scientists were eager. Others warned this could be the start of something else, like bait. A test. Jake was sent to Geneva the next day. Not because he was a scientist, but because he had once translated enemy code during a war with the Martian rebels. He was calm, sharp, and oddly, a lover of old books. When he entered the research center, he was told to escort the alien twins and monitor what they read. Inside, the twins were surrounded by books. They flipped pages faster than any human could. But the moment one of them picked up a colorful book titled Understanding Reproduction, a guide for young adults, she froze. She tilted her head. "What is this?" she asked slowly. Jake looked over her shoulder. "Oh, that? It's a beginner's book, for teenagers." The twin looked at him, blinking with bright eyes. "So this is normal here?" Jake scratched his head. "Yeah, pretty much. Why?" She whispered something in her language to her sister. They both gasped and pointed at a diagram of a man and woman hugging. Jake frowned. "It's not that weird, is it? To us." "It is very strange," the other twin said. "Our kind grows. Children in glass chambers using shared genetic waves. No touch. No ... feelings. No ... this." She pointed at a sentence that read, "Reproduction begins with love and connection." Suddenly, the twins looked at Jake like he was part of a science experiment. "We need to study you," the first twin said. Jake took a step back. No thanks." But before he could argue, alarms rang through the building. A new message had just been picked up. This time, not from the Terry, but from another alien race. One Earth had not seen for over 200 years. Zelkar, Warbringers. Last seen when they destroyed the moons of VORX-9. The message said, "You invited the Ta'eri. Now you invite war. We are coming." Jake's jaw clenched. The twins froze. "This is not about books anymore," Jake whispered. "They followed you here, didn't they?" The older alien behind the twins finally spoke. Her voice was low. "They will not allow us to learn. They fear what happens when Terry discovered emotion." Jake looked at them. Something deep had just started, and Earth was caught in the middle. Asterisk. Jake didn't like the silence. After the Zelkar broadcast ended, the entire research center felt frozen. The guards outside had their weapons ready. The scientists inside whispered behind closed doors. Some wanted the Terry aliens removed. Others said they came in peace. But no one knew what would happen next. The Terry twins sat quietly. They were no longer reading. One of them had her hand on the book about human reproduction, like it was suddenly a shield. Jake finally spoke. "Are they following you?" "They. Zelkar?" The older Terry female, who had said nothing until now, answered again in that slow, heavy voice. "They do not follow. They watch. And when we cross certain lines, they strike." Jake frowned. "What lines?" The twin beside him whispered, "Love?" Jake's mouth went dry. "Wait, you mean they attack because you study love?" "They fear change," the older one said. "The Zelkar believe emotion is a disease. We were once allies. But then we started learning about kindness, about bonding, and reproduction like yours. With heart, not just science." Jake couldn't believe it. "So all this war threat, it's because of a book?" "No," said the twin softly. "It's because of what we might become if we understand what's inside it." Outside, the skies were no longer violet, but something else appeared. Small dots, blinking red, far above Earth's orbit. Not Terry ships. These had sharp edges. Zelkar Tech. Earth Defense Command confirmed it. Zelkar probes had entered the system. A countdown had begun. Jake was ordered to escort the aliens back to their ship. Earth was still trying to keep peace, to avoid conflict. But fear was spreading. As he guided them out, the twin beside him whispered, "Human, do you believe love is weakness or strength?" Jake didn't answer right away. He had fought in wars, seen friends die. He had also held a crying child in a war zone and felt something stronger than fear. "I think it's strength," he said. The alien twin smiled, a strange, curious smile. They boarded the Terry shuttle, ready to return to orbit. But just before the door closed, the second twin turned back and handed Jake something. A small clear cube with a glowing center. "What's this?" "Our version of your book," she said. "Maybe ... You can learn from us too." Then they were gone. Back at command, Jake stood in front of a panel, watching radar dots multiply. The Zelkar were not slowing down. Suddenly, one of Earth's deep space satellites exploded. No warning. Just ... vanish. General Rena, head of Earth's Defense Council, stared at the screen. "We have no choice. We prepare for attack." "But they haven't fired on Earth yet," someone argued. "They just destroyed a $1 billion satellite," the general snapped. "You want to wait for the next one?" Jake stepped forward. "There's another way. Let me talk to them." Everyone stared. "You?" said Rena. "Why you?" "Because I've read their history. I know their language from old war files. And I've seen what scares them." Rena crossed her arms. "And that is?" Jake held up the human reproduction book. People laughed until they realized he was serious. These aliens aren't afraid of guns. They're afraid of ideas, of connection. We need to show them we're not afraid of sharing knowledge or emotion. After a long pause, Rena nodded. You've got 1 hour. You mess it up, we go full defense. Jake was given access to Earth's main transmission array. He stood alone in the center of a giant room full of glowing machines. Open. Linked to the Zelkar flagship, he said. There was static. Then a face appeared. It didn't look like a face. Not exactly. The Zelkar commander had no eyes, just smooth plates and a deep blue glow in its center. You are human. You are emotional, the voice said, without moving its mouth. Jake stood tall. Yes, and I'm not here to apologize for that. The Zelkar hissed. You protect the Tari. You allow them to touch your filth. Jake smiled. If by filth you mean love, family, and caring for each other, then yes. We do more than allow it. We live by it. There was silence. Then the Zelkar said, You will fall first. Before Jake could reply, the feed cut off. The command room went silent. Jake turned to General Rena. We don't have much time. They're going to strike, she nodded. Then prepare. You'll be leading the first contact defense team. Jake didn't look afraid. Just ready. He turned to the cube the alien twin had given him. It was glowing brighter now. He didn't know why, but somehow he felt the Tari weren't gone yet. Somehow they were watching. Waiting. And maybe hoping. Asterisk. The cube began to pulse. Jake stared at it on the table. It hadn't glowed like this before. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, soft, steady, alive. He picked it up. It felt warm. What is this thing doing? He whispered. A soft hum came from it. Then a hologram projected out from the center. It showed one of the Tari twins, the one who gave it to him. Her face was calm, but her eyes held urgency. Jake, the message said, if you are seeing this, then the Zelkar have already threatened your world. There is something you must know. They destroyed our home. They erased our history. But before that, we recorded everything we learned about you, about your species, about reproduction, connection, love. We stored it in this cube. The hologram flickered, then continued. This is not just a book. It is our only remaining knowledge. The Zelkar will try to destroy it. You must protect it. You must also protect yourselves. Jake's hand tightened around the cube. He stood in the command center, where Earth's defense leaders were planning backup strikes. No one knew what to do next. Zelkar ships were moving fast, too fast. General Rena turned to Jake. The Tari are silent. They're not answering calls. We're on our own. Jake thought for a moment. They're not gone. They're hiding. Watching what we'll do. One of the science officers nearby said, we picked up a cloaked signature in low orbit. Could be a Tari ship. Can we hail it? Jake asked. We're trying. No response yet. Jake took the cube again, held it in front of the communication array, and said, if you're listening, we need help. Earth isn't just defending itself, it's defending your knowledge too. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the cube's hum changed pitch. The lights in the command center flickered. Suddenly, a new hologram appeared, this time real time. The Tari twin looked directly at Jake. We are here. Everyone in the room jumped out. The twin continued. We did not want to bring war to your planet, but now we will not run. Jake stepped forward. What can we do? The alien paused. There is something we did not tell you. The Zelkar are not just trying to stop our studies. They are trying to erase them from the galaxy. They believe your books, your knowledge, your emotions will infect others. General Rena leaned in. You mean they want to destroy everything? That makes us ... human? Yes, the twin said. And the only way to stop them is not with force, but with proof. Jake narrowed his eyes. Proof? The twin nodded. Show them that what they fear ... is not a weakness. Show them that connection makes you stronger. That love protects more than any weapon. Jake turned to the general. We need a plan. We have weapons, not feelings, Rena said. Looked back at the hologram. What do you need us to do? The twin spoke slowly, choosing her words. There is an old communication tower on Earth, one of your oldest. It sends open, wideband signals. We can use it to broadcast to the galaxy. Not just a message, but everything we've learned about human reproduction, bonding, and love. Rena raised an eyebrow. You want to broadcast human mating books to the universe? Jake grinned. Not just the books, the meaning behind them. The emotions. The choices. The Tahiri twin added, if we can show others what we found in your species, the Zelkar will lose control. Their fear will backfire. Rena still looked unsure. It's risky. So is waiting, Jake replied. That night, Jake traveled with a small team to the old Earth tower, the one used long ago for deep space signals before satellites took over. It stood high in the mountains, silent and cold. He placed the cube into the ancient system. Lights turned on that hadn't glowed in decades. The screen flashed, ready to transmit. Jake spoke into the mic. To anyone listening out there, this is Earth. We are human. And yes, we're strange. We laugh. We cry. We love. And we make new life not just with science, but with trust. With care. With hearts. He paused. You fear that, don't you? That love spreads. That it makes others think, feel, choose. But that's exactly why it matters. He looked at the cube. Here's our truth. He pushed the button. The tower began broadcasting images, books, stories, sounds, everything the Tahiri had collected. The alien cube lit up like a star, and then something unexpected happened. Far above Earth, one of the Zelkar ships suddenly stopped moving, then another, then a third. The radar techs in the command center shouted, "Something's happening." They're hesitating. Jake stared at the sky. The battle hadn't started yet. But maybe, just maybe ... it wouldn't have to. Asterisk, the Zelkar flagship turned slowly in orbit. Inside Earth's command center, the radar screens were flashing with new movement patterns. But this time, the ships weren't heading toward Earth. Some of them were holding position. Others began to rotate. As if confused, General Rena stood with her arms crossed. What are they doing? A voice answered behind her. Jake had just returned from the tower. They're listening. The cube he had used to transmit was still glowing in his hands. It hummed gently, like a living thing. Something had changed. Jake could feel it. Back at the tower, Earth's old signal dish kept spinning. It was still broadcasting every page, every diagram, every word from the Tahiri's emotional archive. Not just about reproduction, but the emotions behind it. Why? Humans chose each other, how they bonded, how they protected family, and something was working. One of the Tahiri twins reappeared on a hologram in the center of the room. She looked calm, but her voice was firm. The Zelkar don't understand love, but they recognize patterns. If enough ships begin to question their orders, the system breaks. Jake leaned forward. You mean their soldiers might disobey? They are not machines, Twin said. They are trained minds, but minds still. If they feel conflict, they pause. Suddenly, another radar alert sounded. 1. Zelkar ship broke formation. It didn't fire. It drifted away. Gasps filled the room. Jake whispered, It's working. But General Rena didn't relax. Even if a few pull away, They still outgun. US 10-1. The Terry twin nodded. That's why we're sending you something else. In orbit, a bright light blinked near Earth's moon. Then, from behind it, a sleek Tairi vessel emerged. Not for war but for support. It hovered silently and then fired a stream of data toward Earth's tower. Within seconds, Jake's cube lit up brighter than ever. The human systems began to respond. All across Earth, screens blinked to life. Phones, TVs, radios, even old signal boards in schools began broadcasting not just words, but emotions, sounds of laughter, scenes of birth. Stories of parents holding newborns, a mother hugging her son after battle, husband waiting outside a hospital door. These weren't just lessons. These were memories. The entire planet became a beacon. Jake stepped outside and looked at the sky. The stars above blinked. But one of them moved fast, too fast. An alarm screamed in the command center. New Zelkar ship entering system. Larger than the rest. Jake ran back inside. Is it a battleship? No, said a tech. It's a command carrier. Possibly their leader. The Tairi twins' voice sharpened. If he arrives, everything we've done may collapse. Why? Rena asked. He is the one who banned all feelings from their kind. He calls love a virus. He believes it weakens control. The room grew heavy with silence. Jake looked at the cube. Can we speak to him? No, the Tairi said. But he might speak to you. The sky rippled again. Earth systems went dark for 3 seconds. Then, one by one, screens turned back on, every single one showing the same image. A face, or something like a face. It was smooth, cold, and shining with silver plates. Its voice was loud, deep, and emotionless. You dare to broadcast corruption. It said, you share your sickness freely, you welcome ruin. Jake stood in front of the camera. I share truth. And if that scares you, maybe it's because you know it's stronger than fear. The Zelkar leader didn't blink. Emotion breeds chaos. Feeling creates weakness. Your world will be cleansed. Suddenly, hundreds of ships behind him lit up. The attack had begun. Earth's defense systems activated. Missiles, shields, auto-dash cannons. Jake grabbed the cube. The Tairi twins' voice came again through the noise. Jake, the only way to stop this is to reach the minds inside those ships. Show them what their leader hides from them. Jake turned to General Rena. We need to go deeper. Where? Jake held up the cube. Into their own system. You mean broadcast inside their ships? Yes. We use this, send the raw emotion directly into their neural links. Bypass the leader. It's never been done, she said. Then let's be the first. Minutes later, a small ship launched from Earth. Jake sat inside it, the cube placed into a transmission pod. A signal laser was locked onto the nearest Zelkar ship. As they neared, missiles locked on but didn't fire. Jake took a breath. Now. The signal beamed out. Inside the Zelkar ship, a soldier paused. He felt something foreign. He saw a child laugh. He felt a heartbeat not his own. And then ... he cried. Asterisk. The Zelkar soldier fell to his knees. No one on the bridge knew what was happening. Their kind didn't cry. They weren't even sure they could. But there he was, trembling, strange moisture falling from his glowing eyes. Inside his mind, 1,000 emotions rushed in. A father holding his baby for the first time. 2 humans laughing. Under falling snow. An old couple sitting silently, fingers intertwined. And then, the face of a woman human, soft, smiling not with fear, but with warmth. He clutched his head. Behind him, others began to twitch. One by one, the signal reached them too. Not like data, not like a virus, but like a memory of something they never had. The commander of the ship shouted, "Block the feed! Shut the channel!" But it was too late. Jake's small ship hovered just outside their range. The cube pulsed harder now, sending out streams of raw emotion, story after story, image after image. Back on Earth, the Tyeri twins' voice echoed through the command center. "It's happening. Some of them are waking up. Their minds were not dead, just asleep." General Rena watched the radar. 3 ships have stopped moving. 4 more are pulling away. Jake could hear them talking. His earpiece was picking up scattered alien voices from intercepted Zelkar comms. "I saw a mother. It felt warm." "Why? Have we never known this?" The Zelkar commander, the leader of their entire fleet, roared onto every screen again. "Stop this now. We are not made to feel. We are order, control, power." Jake stared at the screen. "No, you're not. You're afraid. Not of us, but of what your own people might feel." The cube pulsed one more time, then it shattered, not from damage, but from release. All its memory, all the Tyeri records, all the human knowledge and emotion it carried poured out like light. It surged into the sky, then split into hundreds of golden trails, striking Zelkar ships across the system. Silence followed. Then chaos, not war. Not explosions, but movement. Ships changing direction, weapons powering down. Lights inside, glowing. Softer. One Zelkar soldier sent a message through the system. A message heard not only by their fleet but by Earth. He said, "We do not wish to destroy what we now understand. We withdraw." Another ship repeated the same. And then another, but not all. The main fleet leader screamed in fury, "Traitors, you surrender to weakness." He powered up a super weapon, something Earth had never seen. A beam strong enough to melt a continent. He aimed it at Earth's largest city. General Rena screamed, "He's going to fire." Jake's voice cracked through the radio, "Not if we can stop him." From the far side of Earth's orbit, the Tyeri ship moved. It had remained hidden until now. Its engines lit up, bright as a star. It charged toward the flagship. The older Tyeri, silent, all this time, finally appeared. She sent one last message. To feel is not weakness, it is life. Then she slammed her ship into the Zelkar command carrier. A shockwave spread through space. The flagship shattered in a burst of silent fire. The weapon never fired. Earth was safe. Jake stared, breathless, as tiny pieces of silver rained like shooting stars into the sky. But he wasn't cheering. He was quiet. "She gave her life for us," he whispered. The remaining Tyeri twin appeared on screen. Her eyes looked heavy with sorrow but also pride. "She was our elder. She remembered what our kind used to be. She wanted you to remember who you are too." Jake nodded. He looked around at the crew. Even Rena wiped a tear from her cheek. Then the twin said something unexpected. "Jake, we need you." "Me?" "Yes, we must rebuild. Not just knowledge, but understanding. You've seen both war and feeling. We want you to help teach our kind what yours already knows." Jake didn't answer right away. He looked up at Earth's sky. And then he said, "Okay, let's build something better." Weeks passed. The sky above Earth returned to blue. The Zelkar fleet, now leaderless, had scattered. Some ships returned to deep space. Others remained in orbit, silent, unsure. And a few began asking questions. For the first time in history, Earth and the Tyeri were not just visitors and hosts, they were partners. Inside a quiet base hidden in Greenland, a new kind of meeting was taking place. Jake stood in front of a small group, 5 Tyeri scientists, 2 human researchers, and most surprisingly, 1 Zelkar soldier. They all listened carefully as Jake held up a simple Earth book. The same one, Understanding Reproduction, a guide for young adults. He smiled. This started everything. One Tairi twin, the one who had always stayed close to Jake, leaned in. But we still don't understand. Why must it begin with emotion? Jake took a breath. Because love isn't just about starting life. It's about protecting it, growing it, being ready to give up everything for someone else. The Zelkar soldier raised a hand. We were told feelings made us lose focus, but when I saw that memory of a human father carrying his child in the rain, it made me wonder. What if focus without purpose is just emptiness? Everyone grew quiet. Then the Tairi twin said, "That is why we invited you all here today. We wish to create a shared archive, one that holds both knowledge and experience." Jake nodded. "We'll call it the Living Library." Across the galaxy, things began to change. Ships that once carried weapons now carried ideas, Tairi. Teachers traveled to other peaceful species, offering stories and data about humans. Many laughed when they saw the first human love letters, simple, clumsy, honest. But they didn't laugh in mockery, they laughed in awe. The Zelkar changed too. Not all, but some. A small group of them came to Earth, not as soldiers, but as learners. They wore no armor, no weapons. And one even brought a gift, a plant from their world, cold, strong, sharp but blooming with new flowers. Jake visited the growing archive daily. The Tairi twin always walked beside him, quiet but curious. She no longer wore her mask. Her long silver hair flowed freely now, and her green eyes no longer scanned for threats. One evening, as Earth's twin moons hung low in the sky, she asked, "Do humans always give pieces of themselves to others when they care?" Jake smiled. "Not always. But when we do, we mean it." She looked down. "Then I want to try." From her pocket, she pulled a small crystal. "This is my memory key. Everything I have seen, read, and felt on Earth, is inside." Jake reached out and took it. "I'll keep it safe." She added softly, "It is not just data, it is a part of me." They walked in silence for a while. Then she asked, "Do you think your kind will always be like this? So full of emotion?" Jake chuckled. "Sometimes too much emotion. But yes, it's who we are. And you're not afraid?" He shook his head. "No, because emotion leads to connection. Connection leads to understanding. And understanding might be the only way we survive." Just then, a young Zelkar child, small and glowing, softly ran up to Jake. It looked up with wide, curious eyes and held up a drawing. Two stick figures, one human, one alien holding hands. Jake smiled and knelt beside the child. "You made this?" The child nodded. From behind, the Zelkar caretaker watched nervously, unsure if this was acceptable behavior. But Jake just said, "Thank you. It's perfect." The Tairi twin watched too, her eyes softer than ever. Later that night, Jake recorded a message. It was sent through the same Earth tower that had once broadcast books to the galaxy. His voice was calm, strong. To every race out there, listening or watching, we were afraid of each other once. But fear comes from not knowing, not feeling. If you want to understand humans, don't start with our weapons. Start with our stories. Start with a book. Start with a laugh. Or a tear. You might be surprised at what you find. Then he ended with the same sentence the alien twin had once said, "Emotion is not weakness. It is life." And as stars blinked above Earth like tiny listening eyes, the message kept traveling beyond systems, beyond galaxies, and into hearts that had never known how to feel before. Years had passed. The Earth Tower, once rusted and nearly forgotten, now stood taller than ever. Its surface gleamed with new metal. Around it was a small city, a peaceful one, where humans, Taeri, and Zelkar lived side by side. They called it Unity Point. It wasn't a capital. It wasn't a base. It was a place of learning where stories were more powerful than weapons. Inside a bright hall made of glass and stone, the living library continued to grow. There were no locks, there were no guards, just shelves, screens, memories, and heart. Jake walked through the hallway, now older. His hair had turned gray at the sides, but his steps were strong, and his eyes still searched the stars from the windows. Beside him walked the Taeri twin, now known simply as Mira. She no longer wore her old robes. Now she dressed like those around her, a blend of human fabric and alien light threads. "You still carry the first book?" Mira asked. Jake smiled and pulled it out from his bag. The same Reproduction book that started everything. Its corners were bent. The cover faded, but it remained whole. "Every time I read it," Jake said, "I remember that moment in Geneva, when you both looked at the page and said humans were strange." Mira chuckled, a soft light sound. "We still think so, but now we admire it." Children's voices echoed across the library. Human kids ran past laughing. A Taeri girl floated after them, using her light field to hover above the floor. Two small Zelkar children giggled as they tried to copy the human high-5. Mira paused. "Did you ever imagine this would happen?" Jake shook his head. "Not in 1,000 years, but I hoped." Suddenly, a chime rang out through the city. It wasn't an alarm. It was a celebration bell. Jake looked up. "Is it time?" "Yes." Mira smiled. "The new archive is ready." They walked toward the central hall, where a large crowd had gathered. People stood shoulder to shoulder, aliens of all kinds. Some wore cloaks. Some had scales. Some had no faces. But all stood together, listening. At the center of the stage was a young human girl, maybe 11 years old. She stepped up to the microphone with a clear voice. "We welcome all who choose learning over fear. This is not just Earth's gift, it is the galaxy's gift. Today we open the new wing, the Archive of Emotions." Applause echoed through the dome. The girl continued. "This is not just data. These are dreams. These are stories of love, hope, care, friendship, even pain and forgiveness." Jake and Mira watched from the side. She leaned in. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we never picked up that book?" Jake nodded slowly. "Sometimes, but then I remember. That book didn't change everything." She tilted her head. "No? It was the moment you asked me why love? Why emotion? That was the real start. The book just opened the door." Mira smiled. "Then, let's keep the door open." Later that night, after the crowd had gone and the stars once again blinked quietly above Unity Point, Jake sat alone. On the hill outside the tower. Mira joined him, holding a cup of warm tea, her new favorite human tradition. Jake looked up at the stars. "Do you think the galaxy will always stay like this?" "No," Mira said softly. "Nothing stays the same." He raised an eyebrow. "That's not very comforting." She turned to him. "It is, because it means things can always become better." Jake chuckled. "You're starting to sound like a human." She leaned back. "Or maybe humans are starting to sound like Taeri." Then silence. Comfortable silence. The stars above no longer watched with suspicion. Now they listened. They waited. And they learned. Jake stood up, dusted off his coat, and looked one last time at the tower that now glowed gold. "We started this with a single question," he said, "and we answered it together," Mira replied. He looked at her. "Books about reproduction?" he asked, half-joking. She smiled, the old sparkle returning. "Yes, strange. And beautiful." They walked back down the hill. Two beings from different worlds, bound not by war. But by a story. Asterisk.